Hello and welcome to NT200 Network Infrastructure Administration. This is week 1 presentation, Windows Deployment Services, WDS. WDS is a software platform and technology which allows you to perform automated network-based installations. This is based on network boot and installation media. The WDS server stores the installation files and helps you manage the boot and the operating system image files, which we use in network installations. Most of us in the technology industry are used to the pre-boot execution environment PXE. For client computers to communicate with a WDS server without an operating system, the client computer must support pre-boot execution environment PXE. When PXE is used with WDS, the client's computer downloads a boot image that loads the Windows pre-installation environment, Windows PE. Now, Windows PE is a minimal Windows operating system with very limited services. Now, Windows PE is then used to install the operating system using an operating system image file. On this slide, I have an image of the Windows Deployment Services role. WDS is a server role which is included with Windows Server 2012. The WDS role includes two role services known as the Deployment Server and the Transport Server. Here is a view of the WDS server. On the left hand side I have the required features for WDS, and on the right side you'll be able to select the WDS role services. In order for us to use WDS, the system that you're working on must meet certain requirements. For one, the server must be a member of an Active Directory domain services or a domain controller for an ADDS domain. An active DHCP server on the network must be present. Also, an active DNS server on the network must be present. The WDS server must have an NTFS file system which will be able to store the images that we are going to create by using the WDS server. In order to perform the initial configuration of WDS, we need to open the Windows Deployment Services console. Now we can do that from Server Manager as shown here on this image on this slide. Another thing we must take into consideration when configuring the custom DHCP option. If you have a separate server running DHCP server, you must manually configure it to include the custom option that provides the WDS clients with the name of the WDS server via the DHCP. Now, if this option is not performed, the WDS clients will not be able to find the WDS server to boot from. So this is a important step that must be done. Here is a screen of the image showing how we can configure the custom DHCP option. Here, setting the option types and specifying the PXE client option 60. Now this brings us to how we can manage the boot, install and discover images. There are two types of image formats. One is the sector-based image format and the other is the file-based image format. The boot images and install images use the Windows Imaging Format WIM. WIM is a file format that allows a file structure such as folders and files to be stored inside a single WIM database. When we create image files, we place the image file in an image group. So, what is an image group? An image group is a folder within the image repository of WDS that shares security options and file resources. The image file group consists of two files. We have the resource.wim file and we also have the image.wim file. So in this case, any permission that we assign to an image group is inherited by all the images in the group. Now, those of us that are familiar with NTFS partitions, we understand that we can assign permissions to certain folders and it will be inherited by the files, the subfiles in the group. Now, going further on image files, an image file typically contains all operating system files on the computer. This image file also contains any updates and drivers that have been applied. Any installed applications, so if you have, say, your Office applications, Word, the spreadsheet, the presentation files, they will all be in this image file. And any configuration changes that have been made. So typically you will want to make all the changes that you need to do and test everything is working well. Then you create an image file with WDS. Now we must remember that the install images, which is included on a Windows installation disk, are images of a basic Windows installation. There are no patches, updates, or additional drivers. Now, to create your own image, you will need to set up a master computer with all the patches, drivers, applications, and configurations already applied. Then we can use WDS to create your own image file by modifying an existing image. Booting the master computer with a modified boot image and running the Windows Deployment Services capture utility. As we know, sysprep has been around with us for a very long time. It is an administrator's friend in a Windows environment. Sysprep.exe prepares a Windows computer for cloning. So with sysprep you can actually you can first configure the computer the way you would like the system to run. Then you will use sysprep to transfer this whole image to a new computer. Sysprep does this by removing all the specific computer information such as the computer name, and security identifier SID. Now on a Windows Server 2012, we can find SIPSprep in the C colon / Windows / system.32 / SysPrep. When running SysPrep on the master computer, we can use the following syntax: SysPrep / generalize / OOBE. Here, OOBE out of box experience. So it's like I have actually buying this computer brand new from the vendor, delivered to your office, and you turn it on for the first time. That's an out of box experience. On computers that do not support PXE boot, if you remember, I talked about the PXE boot environment in a few minutes into this presentation. You can then boot the computer from disk using a Discover image. So what is a Discover image? A Discover image is an image file that you can burn to a CD-ROM or other boot media. The Discover image is very useful in this environment in that we can also convert a Discover image to a beautiful bootable ISO image file. Of course it's beautiful. To convert a Discover image to a bootable ISO image, first we download and install the ADK for Windows 8. And ADK is nothing more than a set of tools provided by Microsoft, and we can use it to customize, access, and even deploy a Windows system to new computers. Here we have a few commands on how to create a bootable ISO image. We first do that by running the following command as outlined here in this slide. So please make a note of it. It's a little bit too much to recite or read from the slide the way it is at this point, but this is the command that you will actually type into a command line to achieve creating a bootable ISO image. Unattended installation is one of the best tools or best features that we have in Windows Server 2012 because we can use the answer file to provide responses to prompts that normally appear during the Windows installation. In this way, someone does not need to be actually sitting in front of the computers that we're deploying to and physically answering the questions. In this way, we have everything typed into this text editor that we can use to answer the prompts during installation. So we can create answer files with a text editor or an XML editor. System Image Manager, SIM, a tool that we can use to create and manage unattended Windows setup answer files. It has a graphical interface, and so that makes it user friendly, just like what I have right here on this screen, Windows System Image Manager. So you can just follow the prompts and the information on the GUI and complete your installation. So now we are here on this slide, and one may ask, what is actually in this answer file? There are typically 7 configuration passes in this answer file. So here we are looking at Windows PE, offline servicing, generalize, specialize, audit system, audit user, and the OOBE system. When we want to install an operating system on a client using WDS with no interactivity, we must have two unattended files. So here we are looking at WDS client unattended file, and this file automates the WDS client procedure that begins when the client computer loads the boot image file. We also need the operating system unattended file. This file is used for a standard operating system installation. It contains responses to all prompts that display after the client's computer loads the install image file. Now let's look at patches, hotfixes, and drivers. And we're going to look at these through the eyes of the DSM command. To make changes to an image, we need to mount the Windows image in the Windows file structure using the Mount WIM option. After all the changes have been made to the image, we can then commit the changes by using the Commit WIM option. If we want to unmount the image, we can use the Unmount WIM option. If we just want to get information about an image or a WIM file, then we can use the Get WIM info option. So the DISM command is a very useful command when we're looking into working with patches, hotfixes, and drivers. Sometimes a Windows package comes in the form of a cabinet file such as .cabing or as a Windows Update standalone installer .msu. You can add the package using the add package command, and I have some of the commands displayed right here. Again, we're making use of the DISM command, and we can also use it to remove a package, the image. Now, when it comes to deployment image servicing and management, which is actually the DISM.exe command, line 2, we can use it to service a Windows image or to prepare a Windows PE image. One thing we must realize though is that the DISM.exe is not included with Windows. With DISM, you can mount an image offline and then add, remove, update, or list the features, packages, drivers, or international settings stored on that image. We can also deploy driver packages by using dynamic driver provisioning. When we do that, the boot image from either Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows Server R2, or Windows Server 2012, we do that from the source /boot.wim on the DVD. Now, to install images for either Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, and up to Windows Server 2012. To deploy drivers based on the plug-and-play hardware of the client, you must first extract the drives because they cannot be an MSI file or an EXE file. Now we're going to review the major concepts that we covered in this presentation. We looked into WDS, which is a software platform and technology that allows administrators to perform automated network-based installations. We do this based on network-based boot and installation media. For clients' computers to communicate with a WDS server without using an operating system, the client computer must support the pre-boot execution environment, which is the PXE. Windows pre-installation environment, also known as Windows PE, is a minimal Windows operating system with limited services. Now, you can use WDS. You must first configure WDS server. To deploy Windows, you must create a boot image and an install image. Now, let's not forget the important Microsoft System Preparation Utility, SysPrep, which prepares a Windows computer for cloning by removing specific computer information such as the computer name and the security identifier SID. A computer that does not support a PXE boot can boot from a disk using a Discover image. To streamline the installation process, it is important that we must automate the Windows installation, and we do this by using answer files. Answer files provides responses to the prompts that will normally display during the Windows installation and this makes it easy for the administrator because another administrator is not required to be on the deployment end to answer the prompts. The answer files will do this for us. Deployment image servicing and management, which is the DISM.exe tool. It is a command line tool that can be used to service a Windows image or to prepare a Windows PE image. We have reached the end of this presentation on Windows deployment services. I would like to thank you for watching and listening.